Hey ladies and gentlemen, Wolf Crier here, and welcome to another build guide. So with the changes coming in patch 2.6.1, I figured it was time to update my Uliana's build guide. So this build guide is for the Uliana Stratagem Exploding Palm build, which will definitely be a 95 plus, more likely a 100 plus GR build come season 12 if these patch notes stay as is. If things do change, I will update this once again, but for now, this is definitely looking like a very, very amazing build for the monk come next season. Now, before we jump into the gear, let's talk about some stats that you will be looking for on your gear. You will be looking for cooldown. A ton of cooldown. You want cooldown on both of your weapons, preferably your gloves, your shoulders, and possibly even a ring or two. You will also be wearing Gogok for plenty of cooldown reduction. This is going to allow your 7-sided strike and your epiphany to come off cooldown faster. Then you are looking for area damage. You want area damage on both of your weapons as well as your shoulders and possibly your gloves, because area damage is going to be doing a ton of damage with this build if your EPs are applied manually. And another stat you are looking for on as many pieces of gear as possible is life regen. This is going to be the only way you are going to regen your life, because you do not use life on hit whatsoever, nor do you have any sort of heal. But let's go ahead and take a look at the gear. First up, we have the Uliana Stratagem 6-piece set. For the 2-piece set bonus, every third hit of your spirit generators applies Exploding Palm. One thing about this 2-piece set bonus, all of these Exploding Palms that are applied with your generators currently do not do area damage, and they do not gain the effect of Mythic Rhythm. Hopefully the area damage at some point will be fixed. I can understand the Mythic Rhythm because you're not actually spending spirit to apply it, but these should definitely be dealing area damage. Hopefully Blizz puts a fix to that. And if I am wrong here, please let me know in the comments section below. Alright, the 4-piece set bonus, your 7-sided strike deals 777% its total damage with each hit. Prior to this patch, that was only double, and now its damage is just flat out insane. And for the 6-piece set bonus, increase the damage of your Exploding Palm by 1800%. This is a huge buff to this set, and your 7-sided strike detonates your Exploding Palm. Next up, we have the Endless Walk set, the Traveler's Pledge Amulet, and the Compass Rose Ring. For the 2-piece set bonus, while you are moving, your damage taken is reduced by up to 50%, and when you stand still, this increases your damage up to 100%. Very, very useful in this, because while you are 7-sided striking and that sort of thing, you're going to be sucking everything into you, and you're going to be standing still quite a bit while you are using this build. For your other ring, you're going to be wearing Unity. You will wear one, your follower will wear one, and your follower will also wear the relic that allows him not to die. And with this ring, all damage taken is split between the wearers of this item. Hence, you will have a 50% damage reduction. Next up in your belt slot, we have Binding of the Lost. Each hit with 7-sided strike grants up to 5% damage reduction for 7 seconds. This is a very big damage mitigator, because your 7-sided strike will hit 14 times when you're using Lion's Claw. Then for your bracers, we have Gungdo gear. Exploding Palms on Death Explosion applies Exploding Palm. And since your 7-sided strike is detonating these, everything on the screen will be hit with Exploding Palm. Now for your weapons, first weapon is going to be Lion's Claw. Your 7-sided strike performs an additional 7 strikes. This is going to detonate your Exploding Palms 14 times and give you that damage mitigation from your belt. Then for your other weapon, you are using the Fist of Az. Exploding Palms on death explosion damage is increased by up to 500%. I personally have done a 95 GR so far with this weapon. That isn't even 500% yet. So this build is a beast. Now onto the cube. You will be using the Flow of Eternity in your weapon slot. Increase the damage of 7-sided strike by 100% and reduce its cooldown by 60%. Very awesome, because you are going to want to 7-sided strike as often as you can to keep that damage mitigation from your belt up and to continually deal damage with your Exploding Palms. Then for your armor slot, we're looking at Spirit Guards. Your Spirit Generators reduce your damage taken by 40% for 3 seconds. This is a very good damage mitigation item. Then for your Jewelry slot, you're going to want Convention of Elements. Gain 200% increased damage to a single element for 4 seconds. So when this rotates around to the cold element, your Exploding Palms are going to be doing massive amounts of damage, and if you have a ton of density there, it's pretty much just going to wipe everything off the screen. Now for your legendary gems, you're looking at Bane of the Trapped. Increase damage against enemies under the effects of control impairing effects by a certain percentage, and at rank 25 this becomes a control impairing effect, so you always gain that damage bonus. Then we have Gogok of Swiftness. Gain swiftness with every attack, increasing your attack speed by 1% and your dodge chance. And at rank 25, you gain 1% cooldown reduction per stack, so that's an additional 15% cooldown reduction. And like I said, cooldown reduction is key with this build, because you are going to want to make sure that your Epiphany is up and your 7-sided strike is available to you. And for the last gem, you are looking at Bane of the Stricken. Each attack you make against an enemy increases the damage it takes from your attacks. And at rank 25, you gain 25% increased damage against bosses and Rift Guardians. This is what's going to allow you to take down the Rift Guardian in solo, because this is not very good at speed killing Rift Guardians. So you're going to definitely want Stricken to help you out with that. It does take longer with this build to kill RGs. Now if you were running this in a 4-man group, I would suggest something like Esoteric here instead, because you will not be the Rift Guardian killer in that 4-man group. So Esoteric would be very useful when it comes to damage mitigation. Now on to the skills, ladies and gentlemen. First up for your generator, we have Way of the 100 Fists, Assimilation. Each enemy hit with the 3rd hit increases your damage by 5% for 5 seconds. Now with this skill, you want to make sure you have a big group around you. You go ahead and apply this skill, and it's going to increase your damage substantially. You do want to be careful when you are attacking to make sure you have a big group, because you can reset this damage bonus to a smaller number if you have less mobs around you. Then we have Exploding Palm, Impending Doom. Strike an enemy, causing them to explode for 6,305% weapon damage as cold if killed within 9 seconds. Now your 7-sided strike is going to be detonating this regardless of whether or not they die. So you're going to be doing this damage all the time. Then we have Epiphany Desert Shroud. Infuse yourself with sand, reducing damage taken by 50%. This is a very good damage mitigator, as well as allowing you to bounce around from target to target and increasing your spirit regen. Then we have Dashing Strike Blinding Speed. You gain 40% increased chance to dodge for 4 seconds after using Dashing Strike. Dashing Strike is going to allow you to get out of sticky situations, as well as propel you to the next area with a group of mobs so that you can increase the density, that sort of thing. Very good defensive and mobility skill to have with this build. Then we have Cyclone Strike Implosion. This skill is what is going to allow you to create a ton of density so that you can group up all the mobs, apply your EPs, and then apply your 7-sided strike, pretty much obliterating all of them. And for the last skill, you're looking at 7-sided strike, sustained attack. Now this is what is going to be spreading your EPs as well as detonating them, and sustained attack lowers its cooldown to 14 seconds. Combined with the flow of eternity and all the cooldown you have on your gear, this is going to be up quite a bit, which is very beneficial for damage and the damage mitigation from your belt. So let's take a look at the passives. First up, we have Harmony. 40% of your single elemental resistances from items instead increases your resist to all elements. Now, if you are not using secondary resistances and are instead using all res on your gear, I would go ahead and trade this out for something like Determination or even Resolve, something along those lines. Then we have Mythic Rhythm. Every third hit from a spirit generator increases the damage of your next damaging spirit spender by 40%. Now the way you're going to apply your EPs is you find a small group of mobs, trigger your Mythic Rhythm, and then you are going to go to another group of mobs, apply your EP, which is going to get this 40% damage bonus, and then spread that EP with 7-sided strike. If you do not do it in that manner, you will end up spreading your EPs with your generator, which, like I said, will not apply that 40% damage bonus, nor will they apply area damage. Now, this is still usable without this up to probably GR 98 or so, and just switch out Mythic Rhythm for something like Determination, etc. Then we have Near-Death Experience. When receiving fatal damage, you instead restore 35% life and spirit. This is your get out of jail free card that can be used every 60 seconds. This is going to help you in times when you take that one shot that would have killed you. And for your last passive, very important, you're going to be using Beacon of Yeetar. Reduce all cooldowns by 20%. As I said, cooldown reduction is very necessary with this build. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have my guide for the Uliana Stratagem Exploding Palm build in patch 2.6.1. This is a monster build, definitely capable of 100 plus, possibly well above 105. On the PTR currently, it has done a 111, but that is done by somebody with 5,000 Paragon, so that has to be taken into account as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, definitely leave a comment below on what you think of this build guide, as well as what you're thinking about the PTR for patch 2.6.1 so far. I am definitely looking forward to Season 12 when this goes live, because Uliana's EP is one of my favorite builds, as is Wave of Light, and that one also got a huge buff. And make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And you guys, thank you so very much for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so very much, and you guys have a great day. Peace.